Today's millionaire interview is with Boris Harhaji, and if this isn't a rag to riches story, then I don't know what is. Boris started out in Serbia, losing $30,000 on a bad real estate investment when he was 18 years old. He moved to the United States with no money, found a mentor that taught him how to build wealth, and went from $0 to a net worth of over $4 million in just 11 years. And the best part is, he shares exactly how he did it in this interview. Boris, thanks so much for joining me today.
Very happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Jackson.
Yeah, I'd love to dive into your story of how you became a millionaire. And I want to go back to the very beginning. At Where did you first get your start? I know you're an immigrant to the United States. Where did you first get your start, and what did that look like for you?
It's a good question. So, yeah, I came here when I was 25 years of age to pursue my MBA. Ever since I was much younger, through high school, I knew I wanted to come to the United States and live here. So, I was looking for a good legal way that can allow me to come here and actually prosper. And funny enough, a little bit why I like the United States so much is when I was a student back in Serbia, I would spend summers in US working. There's a program called Work and Travel. A lot of Eastern Europeans or foreigners come for 4 months. They work, they visit, travel, they come back, continue studies. And during that time, I actually met my late mentor. He passed away in 2018, older gentleman. For 10 years, he was one of my best friends. And it was funny because it was kind of almost like a movie story. I was working bussing tables and waiting tables. And my boss at the time at Cape Cod, she came and said, "Hey, there's a guy here. He's a businessman. I don't know much, but you're in business. You're trying to figure out how, you can advance your career. So maybe you want to meet him." And his name was Bob. And Bob and I hit it right off. He's a great guy, drives a nice car, very flashy, loud, but very, very down to earth. When he passed away, there was not a single employee who was not sad about it in my previous company, insurance company at work. So he was kind of the first person to allow me to really see what exists here in the States and what I can do. So when I came to the MBA, I did face one struggle, and that was what job can I get that's going to sponsor me? So it had to be one of those that I can get H-1B green card. And I was actually kind of into sales, but sales absolutely is not one of those industries. I went to some sales competitions in college, and I always wanted to do that, or like a Wall Street kind of from the movie thing, but none of that really worked. So I went into the insurance industry. I worked for Geico Insurance and auto insurance, and it was a predictive modeling career early on, but I found that a little bit too technical, and I like the business aspect. So I moved into so-called state management, product management, which is like a back office analytics work, similar to what actuaries do in pricing. It's kind of just like a same coin, but different way. So technically, I've been employed in insurance industry for the last 11 years, pretty much since I was out of college, out of grad school here, and just building out my career and learning more advanced technical and business skills. And honestly, I'm really liking it. It's a really good career, a lot of upward movement if you're interested, solid job security and need for the job. I don't even think that AI is going to be as impactful because there's a wide variety of roles we have to kind of fill in. So I've been in insurance industry for the last 11 years, first with Geico, and a few years ago, I moved to USAA.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting. So, my father works in insurance. He's had about a 30-year career,
Wow.
insurance all the way through. So,
Yeah,
I know at least a little bit about that industry.
that's cool. That's cool. What kind of role did he held? Was he like an agent owner or just kind of like me in an office in a big corporate?
He's more on the sales side. So, he basically goes around and meets with individual brokers and convinces them to represent his company's insurance packages. That's the gist of what I know. So it's, a B2B type of sales
That's
play
it.
for him.
Interesting. Cool. Good.
Yeah. So you mentioned early on you're bussing tables in Cape Cod. I'm assuming this is shortly after you came to the US. And you meet this mentor, this business owner. What role did he play in your future success?
I mean, to this day, even though he passed away 6 years ago, so I knew him for 10 years. I probably met him like 2008 to 18. I knew him. It's been 6 years, but to this day, I still say Without him, I don't think I would be here in the United States. I don't think I would have it all figured out. He's a mentor that I cannot stress enough the importance of having mentorship. In fact, since he passed away, I have not found a new mentor for whether it's business or kind of personal life or like a circle of high achieving people to be a part of. So that's actually what I'm looking into, just randomly like Go Abundance or some other avenue to get a group of successful people to be around. I think it's very important. And he really showed me what my true worth can be because prior to meeting him and prior to achieving some success, we might talk about in a bit, I was confident I'll give it my best shot, but I never really knew if I could do it because I just didn't have any role models around me back in Serbia who were successful, who could guide me. I was born into, I wouldn't say poverty, but very lower income. It was during the wars in the 90s, and after that, salaries were very low. Like I had a happy family, but my family did not have money at all. So I just didn't have anyone to kind of guide me there. So I think if one can find a coach, a financial coach, a mentor, whether it's a paid relationship or not, it's perfectly fine to be a paid relationship. It can really set you up for success a lot faster. You got to put in effort, whether it's money, time, something else to provide in that relationship as well. But it's very important.
Since Boris mentioned the importance of having the right mentor, I want to hop in and add a quick note here. If you're looking for a financial mentor to help guide you in the financial decisions you make, don't be afraid to reach out to me. I offer one on one financial consulting and would be happy to connect with you. So, if that's something that you're interested in and you want to take your finances to the next level, there's a link in the description below this video where you can schedule a call with me and I'll give you some more information about it. So, feel free to click the link below and schedule a call. I think it's Tony Robbins that says a mentor helps you turn decades into days. And the idea is we all only have one life to live. We live through different experiences. And if someone else has come before you and already solved the challenge that you're facing,
Yeah,
why
yeah,
are you trying to reinvent the wheel? Why
exactly.
not just reach out to them and ask them for guidance?
It is. It's you are compressing that time frame so much, which is why I'm like somewhere back on my head anxious that I kind of lost that relationship with him and haven't really built any strong one since. And I'm like, what am I missing out on? I am liking where I am and where I'm going. We'll talk a little bit about it, but like that is one portion that for sure I think is worth its, you know, its money in gold for sure.
So, for someone who's looking for that type of mentor in their life, what would you recommend they look for? How do they find a person like that? And what sort of qualities or attributes should they be looking for in their mentor?
So one thing that's important here is you have to seek that person and you have to be brave to do it. Um, I'll give you an example. When Bob approached me or I approached him just to say hi and this, and then he's like, "Hey, how about we exchange emails and stay in touch?" And I was like, I was 21, 22 years old, and I'm like, I don't think he really means it. Like, okay, I'll get his email, but like he's too busy to reach out back to me. Like, I don't think he really cares. He's just being polite. Because like, why would he reach out to me? He's so successful. He can get some Harvard MBAs, investment bankers, Geico executives, businessmen, real estate owners, anybody. But why me, a poor kid from Serbia who's at the B-rated college? And one of the most important things there that he liked is that I actually reached out and I fought for myself. He said that he offered his, not to say services, but like his hand to so many people at Geico, and very, very few ever took it. Like he talks to people, no one's proactive. So you have to be proactive and kind of seek what you want. So find people on social media, reach out to them, send that email. Don't just assume that everyone's super busy, nobody cares about you, no one will help you. People want to help. Even I'm here talking, hoping someone's going to hear my story, not because I have any benefit, but like a good karma. I want to help people there. Like you hold some knowledge that can only enrich others, so you want to share it. It's kind of like the candle. If you use one candle, lit up more candles, your flame doesn't get extinguished. You just help others, your flame is still there. So it's not like I'm giving you my portion. I'm just trying to make a better world in some maybe more philosophical way and small practical. So yes, I think you just have to reach out to people who are honest, who are open, who have some time to commit.
Hmm. That's a great framework. And one thing I've noticed as I reach out to people for help and guidance and looking for mentors in my own life is the attribute of humility goes a really long way. And I think the times when I try and pretend like I know everything are the times when I'm least receptive to receiving that guidance. And so I think it goes a long way just to find someone who's maybe way far ahead of you and say, "Hey, I recognize I'm an amateur at this, but it's something I'm eager to learn. Is there any chance you could give me just a few pointers to guide me in the right direction?" And it's amazing how often those people are willing to do so.
Yes, you put it right. You know, put your ego down. Like, no matter how successful you are, someone's like way ahead. I think I just read yesterday that what? Elon Musk has $700 billion net worth right now.
Yeah.
It's almost a joke, right? But like, joke on aside, like it really is. Every time I thought I'm game, I did something so good, I learned like this person's doing it way better. And I created one saying for myself, and that is, I'm not looking to be right. I'm looking to be rich or wealthy. So when you transfer that way your mentality, you don't need to feel ever insecure or offended or in any way. You're just looking for whoever is better. You acknowledge that what you have is a good success and happiness, but there is more. And if there is more or faster or better or lighter to get there, use it. I really agree with you on that one. Just we cannot be, the ego is really impediment to growth, I think. And once we can kind of cut that ego off, just an example. I talk about investing to a lot of my friends, but like back in Serbia, none of them invests. They keep seeing my success, but all they say is, I can't do that. It doesn't work here. You make enough money so you can do it. I can't do it, because their ego is preventing them. And then I stop talking, of course. I don't want to like brag or just put them in an uncomfortable situation, but that is definitely something that we have to think about.
I love this mindset shift that you had of saying, "I'm not looking to be right. I'm just looking to be wealthy."
Yeah.
What were some of the steps that you took to build wealth in your life?
So I think one thing that's very important is pick a job, a career, a business to own, somewhere where you can actively contribute value to society. For me, that was insurance analytics, being a supervisor, manager, etc., so that your skills can be paid well enough, and then invest and then spend. Like, kind of follow that track. Like, you earn, then invest, then spend what's not invested. A lot of people go from earning to spending and then maybe invest or not. So those are kind of the way you want to structure. But it is important that you have some kind of marketable skill where you can actually make active income so you can put into all these investments and build wealth along the same lane. Don't spend everything you have. Don't overextend. And that is something that, it's simply said, it is harder to implement sometimes. But if you really want to do it, most everybody can do it. Yes, someone who's making $25,000 a year, they can't really find so money to invest. So they should focus on the active income. But just changing the mentality to like, yes, I can do it. Others have done it before me for hundreds or thousands of years in different capacity. Just follow the same logic. I just read recently or listened to it on YouTube, The Richest Man in Babylon. So it's a book that's written over 100, I think like 100 years ago. So at least, and of course it's about time a lot sooner, but like the same thing. It's just, there's so many books. Rich Dad Poor Dad, Kiyosaki. Um, 10x is it's easier than 2x. Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan, I want to say. I can't recall that, but like a lot of books, keep reading, they talk about the same story. The biggest challenge people face is they don't have the patience for it, and they get distracted with all the social media, all the flare and glare. And it's just funny because that is really not real. And the more you look into it, half of stuff is not real. So just, those are kind of things that I think people have to do to gain wealth and success. Be prudent, be humble, find a marketable skill to start, and then get that runway. I am 30 years old, 38 years old. I started investing 25, 27 when I finished college. I did a lot of work before then, but nothing very successful. And I'm like, I've only been 10 years. I got a long way. Some people like, hearing this, they might even be younger, and like they can be where I am by the time they're 28, which is your age. If they started a lot sooner or had a little more money. So it's a wonderful thing what that can do for all of us.
Yeah. You shared a lot of amazing principles there, and I want to pull out just a couple of them. You mentioned this idea of the importance of active income to create passive income. I think that's a trap that a lot of people fall into is the passive income is what's most attractive. Of course, we want to make money without working,
Sure.
but it only comes after the work. And sometimes the best thing you can do to improve your financial situation is to make more money.
Yeah.
Not so that you can spend more money, but to make more money so that you can put your investments first.
Yeah, I have some funny things like my current yearly gain from just Berkshire Hathaway stock, which owns Geico, is greater than my whole 1 year salary when I started, even adjusted for today's dollars, like in 2014. So like 10, 11 years ago. And that's the power of investing. They just want stock. But like I had to put a lot of effort and time to get to the level of principal capital to do that. And it is important. You're right. Active income really helps. And if you start early, you get to my age where I lose my job tomorrow, I don't have to work ever. I mean, I'm not going to continue increasing my wealth to that level, but like I don't have to work anymore. Like I'm technically what's that called? Fire, financial independence, retire early. I'm financially secure. I wasn't free to an extent as well. But I did put like a ton of money over the last 11 years. And my wife, I mean, we also both invested. And it wouldn't happen if we didn't have decent careers and made good amount of money. So there's multiple ways, but you are correct. This allure of passive income gets to people, but you have to understand, like I just did some math and like I do random math. I like math. And I'm like, in order to get in cash flow my salary, I need to own at least, not own, I need to have four plus, I think maybe $5 million in equity in real estate. Like how easy it is for someone to have, or I want to say hard, to have $5 million. That's a lot of money. I'm not saying owning 5 million of real estate, but low. I'm saying that means you own a 50 million, I don't know, $25 million building by yourself and you have 5 million in it. So all I'm saying is it's much easier to make that money through a job and active income than to get, than get there like by putting $20,000 a year or 10,000 a year. So you have to start somewhere. Just start. I didn't know what money I'll be making or having now 15 years ago. I just believed, okay, I know this is the process. You work, you put money in, and that's where most people get stuck. I don't have a lot. The $100 a month won't do a lot. That's 1,000 a year. Well, I started my first year 3,000 in 401k when I worked because I needed all the money and this and that. But you start 3,000. Now I don't know, every day I make 3,000 in stock market. I'm not doing anything. It's just kind of how things, not really, but like how things change. Some days a lot more, some days it goes down. But that's a great way to put it. People do need to find some skill to sell themselves their work that produces, and then use that to buy passive investments, stocks, real estate, whatever, precious metals, crypto, whatever they desire.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you were to lose your job today, you'd be financially set for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure because everything else I own is in the investments, strong cash flow, not a ton of expenses. The only challenge, so I have two kids and my wife and I hope we'll have more. That is kind of like, okay, I would struggle. I mean, they're young. My son's 2.5, daughter's 5 months. So like, I wouldn't be able to maybe provide as much for them. Like there would be definitely consequences, but if I wanted to live a good life and continue, I think I could survive based between like the gains on stocks, sales, this and that, how much debt we have that's not related to investments. Um, I would probably still, I got in me time. Like I don't want it. I love my job. It's helping me set up. And, I like to do it. And I hope I stay employed as long as it's mutually working for both my employer and myself. So I hope many more years. But yes, if something needs to happen, I could survive and live, not just survive. I could live. I just wouldn't achieve all my potential if I don't do something else.
Yeah. So, give me a breakdown of what's your current net worth and how is it broken up across different investments?
Cool. So for myself and my wife, we've been, again, say investing first in stocks for many years. And as of 2018, I was accidental landlord when we moved to built a house and didn't sell our condo. So we were renting it out. That's kind of when it started. Truthfully, like 2020 is when I started buying rental properties as well, more so. So roughly I am, depending how some of the real estate now, it's a little iffy, like exactly where it is. But I would say like, $3.5 to $4 million range. That's my net worth right now. And 90% of that is investments. 99% if you include my own house, which again, there's like, is it investment? Is it not investment? Yes, it doesn't produce cash flow, but it does appreciate and you're not paying rent. So however people want to look at it. But that's the key. Almost all of that for me is just bringing some money, to an extent. House might cost me, but I love my house. I love living there. I work from home. So I got no issue with that. So about $3.5 to $4 million at the moment. And again, started probably real accumulation started in when I was 27. I'm 38 now, so 11 years.
Wow. $4 million in 11 years. That's amazing.
I had some good luck there too. Like my house that I owned, I bought in, like, let's say in DC, when we moved from Washington, DC to this Eastern Pennsylvania area where I'm now. We bought it for like $650, sold it for $870. Like we made like, tax free 300 grand almost, not quite. When I was a little younger, I did a little more stock speculation. So I bought some like Volkswagen when they had a big emission scandal a few years ago. I got it like 25% down, then it shot up like 30%. So I had a bit of that. However, I also had made mistakes. Like I actually held gold and silver for 6, 7, 8, 10 years. And I sold it like earlier this year prior to this recent huge spike. So this isn't to say that you have to have just this luck, because it's not true. I clearly missed out on a big gain. I had quite a few 100K in gold and silver, and I made some money because I've been having it for a long time. But right now, like I think I sold it like 30 something silver that I bought at 15. Great. But now it's 60. Gold I probably sold for like 2,700, and now it's like 4,000+. So one thing for people to know, yes, I had some luck with some financial stuff. I had mistakes. It averages out to that good 12% stocks, 20% real estate or more, So it is a path that I'm on, and I'm really trying to push. And just because you've asked, just to be clear where things are at, I own about half and half real estate and stocks. A little more probably in real estate. It's kind of a little harder to market, right? I can just log in and see what I own. So I think I own more real estate if I'm to really sell it, even after all commissions, etc. But currently I'm a little more like in stocks because there's less work. There's a lot less work. And it's really passive and there's less headache. I do think stocks are important as you try to start and build up some confidence as your investor. Then real estate can really jump it up. Like if you actively own, I had a house that bought for 200, refinanced the year after for 300, made 100,000 a year, didn't do anything. So that could happen, but also there's expenses, evictions. It's just two different beasts. Just want to let people know real estate has been extremely popular the last 3, 4, 5 years because we had major appreciation during COVID. We had very, very low inflation initially, which did spike up. But right now we're entering the new era where the rents are not raising as fast. The insurance is more expensive. It's just much harder cash flow. A lot of syndicators going belly up on multiple properties. It is not all it's cracked out to be. And people should definitely not jump in 2025, 26, like, oh, I'm just going to make that money. I was lucky, but again, luck because I bought my first 2 rentals, so not accidental rental that I had, but I won it in literally freaking March 2020. That's when COVID hit, when we started working from home, where I thought this is the worst financial decision I could make. I had no idea that it's just going to shoot up so much and, free money, etc. However, I did realize, okay, if the inflation is low and they're printing all this money, the inflation would eat up my costs. So I bought more properties. That's what happened in Serbia in the 90s. People who were familiar with the government, they knew that inflation is going to eat up a lot of costs and like the value of the money of currency. So they bought a lot of properties and then returned. So I stocked up on a lot of loans, like 5, 6 loans for real estate that now are all 50% more valuable, but my loans are where they were. I did predict that for the next 3, 4 houses, 5 houses that I bought and some mobile home parks. But I didn't know at the time when I bought those first two, because I was working on them late 2019 before anything like that happened. So I just want to say that luck, people call luck like someone's lucky, someone's not lucky. It's really when opportunity meets preparedness. So if you're prepared, there's an opportunity, luck will happen. So I just don't want anyone to think that what you do you cannot influence. It's like there is external forces involved, but not to that extent. It's really you can control it.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that principle of ownership, that ultimately you are the determinant of your outcomes. There's a couple
100%.
key principles I want to highlight here that you mentioned. The first one is this idea of making mistakes. I think, if I'm someone listening to this, myself included in the past, trying to figure out how to build wealth, it feels like the stars have to align, right? Like you have to have the perfect job and never get laid off, and the perfect family situation with no medical difficulties, and make the perfect investment decisions. And that's just not true. Everyone that I've spoken to that's a millionaire has shared mistakes, and mistakes on a big scale, maybe losing hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Mhm.
I spoke to a real estate investor the other day that lost $180,000 on one real estate transaction in his 20s. Yet here he is, a millionaire a few years later. Risk comes with the territory, and those mistakes are actually how you learn and how you make better decisions the next time that ultimately lead to creating even more wealth than before.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you about my biggest mistake. So when I was 18 years old, my family inherited a little bit of money from my late grandparents. When I say a little bit, it was like maybe $30,000. Back then, it was a ton of money for us because I lived in a country where the salary was like $300 a month, and like came from it's just hard. Like there's no one successful to talk to. There's no podcast. We came off of the 90s wars and socialism, and it was money grab for all. You don't ask a capitalist how he became rich because it was political connections, this and that, some illegal, behind the table scene. So it was, and I was young. I had no knowledge whatsoever, but we had this money. And what worked at the time, it was like 2006, 7, right? I mean, the financial crisis here, how it impacted me. It was very popular to buy a condo in a building, pay, let's say, 20,000 when it's being built or just about to start, and a year later sell it for 30, 35 when it's finished, legal and everything else. I mean, it's legally being built. So I did that. I took that money because my parents were like, what are we going to do with this 30 grand or so that we inherited? I'm like, we got to make more. We can't just spend it on a car or something. We got to, even then I had the idea of investment. I just had no knowledge of it, like of the risk. And that's what insurance industry helped me. I didn't understand the risk. Never risk to lose more than you can afford to lose. That's the thing. That's the diverse. Don't risk it all ever. And I did, because I mean, 30,000 didn't seem like a lot. And doesn't seem like you can do a lot of stuff with it. It's not that much money. Even if it's like 50,000 in today's, you can't like buy 7 real estates with 50 grand. So long story short, I bought one condo, like let's say I put 15,000, sold for 25, 10 months later, then did another one and another. And the other two that came right after, one of them went belly up. So I lost about $30,000. So all my gains and initial principal, and I had a little extra, we had a little extra money put in the third one that took like 10 years to finish. So what I want to tell people, it was a lot of legal action, this and that. My parents now own that little. It's a very small efficiency condo. But when I lost that money, we didn't even know what's going to happen. I consider I lost both everything plus all the gains. For 6 months, I was extremely depressed. I think I was just entering college because I took that as my loss. My parents like, well, don't blame yourself. We all agreed to do this. Like, no, I brought this idea. I should have foreseen all the risks and everything else. So for 6 months, I was depressed. It was to the point where I'm holding in the kitchen. I'm like my life is ruined. Like I got nothing. Like you don't make money after you lose money in Serbia at the time. You either have it or like there's no way to make when you make $300 a month. And I'm looking, like literally it was this. I'm looking in my kitchen. I'm like, I can grab this knife and just like go and ask for my money from the investor, like from the owner. Like it was that element of mental fog. I was so angry, so depressed, so angry, not to say anything officially more rude. And I said to myself this, okay, you're 18 years old. Is your life, because you know what happens after you threaten someone, even if you do nothing, like, is your life worth going to jail over 30,000? Is that your value? Is my value in life $30,000? Even though like that was so much money, it was like 30 million today for me. I'm like, my life is worth more. I'll figure it out. And that loss actually really freaked me out about investing in real estate years. So it scarred me until like I started in 2020 because I was so afraid that not to lose money again. And the good news is because of that loss is why I came to the United States also, because I was like, I can't live in this society. I know I can offer more. I don't have connections. I don't have skills that are needed in Serbia, skills at the time. I was like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I don't know. So I turned the loss into some potential future success. It did not feel like that. Like, not all this social media, LinkedIn story, turn every loss into success. No, I was just like, my life is worth 30 grand and I go to jail by doing something I shouldn't. That's on me. So I took the ownership, said, doesn't matter. Money's lost. Figure out a way. I have no idea how I'm going to make this money. Long story short, fast forward, even 10 years ago, between my job investments, I was making that a month. So 18 years, everything I could ever envision. 10 years later, every monthly income is the same amount of money. So we lose. My first was a loss. I was a failure. I thought I was a major life failure because of it. Crazy. It's really crazy. But that's something I do want to also tell people. You have to push through your failures. There's big mistakes to be made.
Wow.
Don't stop. Just don't stop. Yeah.
So we've been connected on LinkedIn for several years, and I know you to be a man of character and a family man. I would have never expected that story that you just shared, but I think it just illustrates what a dark place you can be in, and also what a great triumph to kind of look within yourself and recognize my life is worth more than this, and I'm going to go pursue something better.
Yeah, it's that hidden rage and anger that someone took from you, your family, your future, everything. And you just have to tell yourself, like, you're worth, whoever you are worth more than anything like that. You only live once, do it the right way. And I believe in God. So I'm like, God will find a way for you in life. Whatever that is, God will help you. And he did really help me. And I'm in a really good spot today.
Wow, that's awesome. So
Thank
that
you.
was your greatest financial failure.
Mhm.
What would you say has been your greatest financial success?
So I have two stories. One is funny, but just again to bring up really how life was. At 20 years old, I went to UK to work. It's like a business internship, but really was me, a low wage worker, working in a hotel at bartending, reception, just to kind of learn how business is done. And I never forget this thing. This is funny, but like when I was born in Serbia, when I was raised in Serbia young, I couldn't afford like hot stuff that's the cheapest you think about, like chocolates and stuff. So one thing is, I remember I was 20. I wasn't like 12. And I went to the store with my paycheck and I bought 5 Twixes at Tesco. And I sat on the square and ate all 5 Twix bars. So like 10 single ones. So that is like, I was like, wow, I can buy any amount of candy I want and I can eat it. But I was 20 years old. I'm like a freaking third year in college. So that's like not really expensive, but I'll never forget how I was like, I can buy any sweet I want that I couldn't afford and it doesn't matter. Now, for reality, the best financial real success is when I became a millionaire. When I did my Excel sheet and I realized my net worth crossed 1 million. That was actually just before COVID, like I think early 2020, before all this inflation. So like when I still consider like it was real from all this hard work. It wasn't like real estate shooting up, stock market going up 30%, all these things that inflated our currency, maybe not real money. So that is I remember I was in my office in my old house and doing some work and I'm like, as of today's stock market prices and this and that, because I did not have any real estate except that condo at the time as a rental. I'm like, my net worth is actually $1 million. And like I just sat like and really enjoyed that knowledge. Like I remember all these stories from the past. And probably for like an hour I was just like reflecting on it. And that was the greatest feeling in the world at the time. Not because like it's so good, but like I can say I was so poor. I didn't have anybody, and I can say I'm a millionaire in to that currency, whatever, dollars in this case. So that is definitely the time that was I'll never forget it. It was just nice. Again, not because now you can show off and spend it and whatever, but just knowing your hard work over years paid off.
Wow. So you went from being a poor kid in a socialist country to 15 years later, living in the United States and realizing you're a millionaire.
Yeah.
How would you say that your early financial experiences of maybe living in a foreign country and also the financial situation that your family was in, how did your early experiences influence the way that you view money?
It changed completely from then to now. Like money back then and money now is completely, it's two different aspects. So literally back then, I thought money is bad. Money is only what rich people who screw others have, people who take advantage of others. That was my early on. That was coming from my mindset of poverty, like they call it poverty mindset, abundance mindset. I really thought that, and I looked money as the status, as something to be accumulated. Then when I got some money, I realized that the money in general for most people is the value you provide to the world. Now, I'm not naive to believe that, there is no negativity as you're building a company. You have to cut costs, lay off, for example, lay off people that otherwise, have families to feed, mortgages to pay, or even me getting my stock market going up because Amazon cut 10,000 jobs and used AI to cheapen it out. So like I'm making money while someone's losing. It's not like all noble being rich, but in the grand scheme of things, like a lot of people who have created a lot of wealth for themselves provide a lot of services to others. Like they provided good companies, created opportunities. I have a job through two companies that's creating me a millionaire that someone else is making profit off, but I don't feel bad about it. They have to do it. And it's simple as that. So that's kind of really how it evolved. And it went from me thinking also, most important thing is it went from you thinking money is a status to buy flashy car, big houses, show everyone off. That's like what I thought 20 years ago too. Just being a resource. I don't look at money like money. I look at it as a resource to do what I like, to give my kids sports academies, to travel the world and gain experiences, to invest in health. I just lost 11, 12 pounds recently because I've been eating a lot better. My wife and I ordered some salads, cooking a lot of meats, that costs money. And that meat is actually from an Amish farmer where chicken breast costs 5 times as much and is the one in the store. But, you know, not to go into details, but I think it's much healthier than regular. So long story short is the money has become a tool to be used. And I think that is one thing that maybe I'll say I'm proud of myself that I'm able to do. A lot of people go and start accumulating it. They live frugally, they invest, and they never spend it. I've listened to podcasts of some real estate investors who have like 1,200 square foot houses, drive 15-year-old cars, and have 20, $30 million net worths. To me, if you're 20 and you somehow achieve all that, sure, you got a long runway. I'm 38. This is my best time with my wife and my kids to enjoy. I don't want to have nice cars when I'm 60. I want to have now. And I don't mean like a nice car like a Ferrari. I mean like a new car that's not, that it smells good, it looks good. I actually just ordered a Volkswagen Atlas because what, two kids, a dog, probably hopefully third one. I'm thinking ahead, like I do need because I only have one car right now. We need another car. And I didn't buy, which I looked initially, is BMW M60i, so like a nice M7 series X7. I went half the price. This still gives me value. So you want to have nice things to allow, your family to live stress free, but it's a resource to live a good, productive life, not to show off and to make others jealous or anything like that. So completely changed 180 from when I was 18 and didn't have it, what I thought about money. And I'm like 28 to 38 and I have some money. I think it's just to make the world a better place to donate, give, the karma, push it out, help others.
Oh man, that's amazing. I love what you said about money being a resource. And some of the most wealthy people are the ones that provide the most value to others. And of course, you can do that through your career, through business ownership. But I'm curious to know, what role does charitable giving play in your financial approach? And do you give back to other people monetarily or maybe through your time and resources? Like, what does that look like for you and your family, this idea of generosity?
So I am on LinkedIn a lot and I post different things. I don't have a business. I have no reason to be on LinkedIn. So sometimes I even find myself like, why do I share some of this stuff? Like, I don't want people to think I'm bragging because what's the purpose? I don't care what they're thinking. Like I used to, but now I have kids, so I just care what my family thinks of me. But
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I do it to push out the karma, the good karma, the ideas. Because when I bought my first single family homes, someone was telling me you should try multifamily. And I was seeing all these posts, and I did. I got a mobile home park that's producing 10 times as much value than single families that I have. It's great property. So I got it from someone else. So long story short, I decided I'll still post just to share it out. Someone's going to see it. One person, two people, someone's going to change their goals. Just like someone told me you should put money QQQ fund, and I did a few good years ago, and it's really done great. So I own some QQQ stocks, and that's for QQQ. So time I do give as much as money, that probably I've given even more. Because since the time I came to the States, I mean, I sent my family easily 6 figures of money. Last year, so that's just given. And every time I go, I bring gifts and donate. I've donated here to a few different causes, like my university occasionally, some organizations that support ethical practice for farmed animals, because I do eat meat, but I don't like the industrial factory farming, which is why I pay more and buy different food. So I do on that level, but also like literally last year, a buddy of mine asked me for like a loan, interest-free loan, which to me is a loss of money, right? Because inflation and lack of gain, interest-free loan I gave him. So technically I gave him something to buy a condo, because he said if I have a bigger down payment, it's all different than here where you're like, has to be your money, whatever, lower interest rate. So I gave him. A year later, he returned to me. Another body just recently asked for also $5,000 because he wanted to move to a different house. He just didn't have it. He'll return to me in a few months. So even that way. So I do give in different capacity, from time to, someone to just giving it to people. And in the end, lending as well. Again, not like on interest, even though technically I think that's a fair one. But again, those are my friends that I know, and I'm like happy to help if I can.
That's amazing. I want to get a little bit more tactical here and see if I can pull out some really good investing knowledge from you.
Sure,
So you
go for it.
mentioned that you've invested in single family homes as well as RV parks. Could you walk me through one of your most successful investments? And actually, I should preface this by saying it doesn't even have to be real estate. It could be the stock market or gold or something else as well. Could you walk me through one of the most successful investments that you've made and what you think contributed to that being such a great investment?
Yeah, absolutely. So singularly, it is real estate, because I don't speculate on stocks. I don't day trade, and I haven't had like one stock that made me $1 million. It's really different funds. Some mad money to put into stocks. So I wouldn't say the stocks have been like a single best investment. So it is on the real estate. And when I transitioned in 22, didn't transition, but started buying it's mobile home parks, slightly different than RV parks, but also different asset class. But yes. So when I transitioned to multifamily, and although I did buy an extra house in 2023. So in 2021, I started buying mobile home parks with partners that I met on LinkedIn. I met one or two people. They had someone else, and we started. And again, it's going to have to be a story, because so we bought 3 parks together. All failures turned out to be 3 failures, small parks, 4 pad, then another 4 pad, then a 42 pad that only had 16 trailers. But it was during the time of such high inflation that all the mistakes we've made were forgiven. We still sold them and made some money on average, because of luck in this case, the good timing. And that's what's important. Why do I preface this with the big failures? Too many cooks in the kitchen. People didn't really agree on what they're going to own. And I'm not going to lie, I put, like, me and one other guy put the most money in it. Some others put a little more, supposedly put more time. But it turned out that I put a lot of money and I put a boatload of my time for like a quarter deal. It was not the best assessment. However, those 3 small parks that I did sell in the last few years, I got all my money and a little bit extra. Again, I said a joke, well, I like real estate stocks. If I put it in stocks, I would have more money than all the time and effort I put ahead from this. However, we bought in 3 years ago, also, I want to say like December 22, I can't recall exactly, a 73 home mobile home park. It has about 20 homes that are lot rents and 52 that we own. In a nutshell, we bought it with no money, zero money down, seller financing, very good terms. In few years, we'll own 100% of it, cash free. So all these losses that I made or time, I make more from that park in 1 month. And I only have one partner. And we own majority, he owns minority, my wife and I own majority. So like all those 2 years of struggle, of failures, of trying to run the partnership is all worth it because this one deal helps me pay for my mortgage and food every month. So that's been really the greatest financial success in terms of one property. How that came about? I mean, first of all, obviously we were looking and trying to be real estate investors. I mean, we did the best we could. People just have different priorities, too many cooks in the kitchen. We all thought each other knows more about stuff than we did. So it wasn't working out. Here, I gained that knowledge and have that one nice park that really produces a ton. And the reason we got into it is there was a buyer for it and they couldn't agree with the seller on like $200,000. It's a couple $1 million park. But I'm like, we got it seller finance. It didn't cash flow day one. Like I could cover his mortgage and all the expenses and I knew I could raise rents, I can improve. So over the 3 years, like we went from like $27,000 rents to $50,000 in rents. Some of it comes from rehabs and like improving, but it's just a fantastic property that like makes all these failures worthwhile to the point that I was like, we are just going to sell. I'm not spending a dime of my time anymore on it. And right now we just finished 3 years of payoffs, continue 4 years more, and we loan it free and clear. And then, once you stop the payments to the owner, it's going to increase cash flows, 10, 15 grand a month. So, yes, we do plan probably to sell the homes at some point. Everyone's talking that in mobile home park industry, you cannot make a ton on park homes because people don't take care of them. They have more maintenance. That's all generally true. So at some point, we'll probably lower our income, but completely eliminate like 90% of work that we do now. No rehabs, no this, no that, and pull some of that money out. But to me, at that time, I was like, can someone pinch me? Because literally, we're getting it for $0 down. I don't have to put anything, like I'm taking over a productive business for $0. I just have to put some time to manage it, find a good property management company. And yes, we put a lot of effort. We didn't take cash flow for a few years. We put all to repair trailers, put it back in, make sure we're good. But then you turn around now and like you can just, casually take thousands of dollars a month in cash flow and still continue rehab because we want to rehab all the trailers. Because every time we rehab, we increase rents by 50%. We get a market rent. You get better tenants, people who take care of it and feel that pride of ownership. So, long story, but like, just want to tell again, people, there were 3 previous failures that could hurt my ego, that could tell me this sucks. I persevered and found a park that's been working out fantastically and pretty happy about it. So that's probably the biggest singular financial success on any of these simple elements of investing.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really cool. I'm interested in, I have one single family rental. I've never invested in mobile home parks or a similar asset class. For someone who's listening to this that, feels inspired by this story and wants to get started, what's the best place to start if you're interested in some of these alternative real estate investments like mobile home parks?
So I would say there is a lot of information out there. Definitely join LinkedIn, connect to people who post daily. I don't post just about investments. I post now about my family because, again, I don't have a business, but there are a lot of full-time real estate investors who talk about this. So you can get knowledge there. You can then get into their podcast that talk specifically in business. I mean, when I got to real estate initially, I was on my way to working back listening to Invest for More podcast. I remember at the time. So I listened to all the episodes, obviously YouTube, read books, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and some actually more productive books just on real estate. That's what I would say to people. There's a lot of information out there. Start. This is the key. Everything's going to sound weird and different, and maybe you don't know if you're new, but then you're going to start connecting it from, there's like a, what is it called? Like a Venn diagram. A lot of people talk a lot of different things, but then you'll have a circle about what everyone else is talking about, and that's what you learn. That's kind of it is. You learn, okay, this is how you handle maintenance. This is how you handle what's a cash flow, why it's important to be buying with leverage if the cap rates are higher than your loans because you're making money on every dollar you borrow. Things will start making sense. And one thing that is important is you do need to eventually invest without full information. That's why it's here. I did mobile home park. This is a talk about being humble. I thought I would gain when I bought 5 single family homes, and they all skyrocket in appreciation. They're all rented. There's no expenses. I'm doing this. I know this is the best. Then I joined LinkedIn in 2020, and I see all these multifamily investors, and I'm like, seems like this is maybe better. I'm not saying it is, but it could be. Like, I didn't say, you don't know anything. I know what's better. No, I'm like, man, I just thought I knew everything because I got 6 homes, and there are people owning hundreds of millions or whatever, tens, hundreds of units, thousands of units. So you have to be humble and okay with that. And then I started doing what they're doing, and I failed. I didn't have a good partnership that everyone thought their rules. I was frustrated. I had money locked in, like I couldn't get out. It was not great, right? We tried our best. Luckily, the market went up. We were forgiven. We kind of made some money, not really a ton. And then this major success happened. And I think if I continue real estate investing, which I'm not doing right now, just because I'm focused on my family and trying to get as much free time, I'll probably do in the area where I live. No more out of state. Not because it cannot work. I think single family homes are okay. It's just there's no benefit of scale for me to have few in Texas, few in Arkansas, few in Memphis, Tennessee. It's hard to manage. So I want to focus. I think my area is good, and then I can build relationship, find a property manager that wants to handle multiple properties, so they are more motivated. You have one single family. If you have a property in PM, what I get, $200 a month and 2,000 rent. My PM probably gets like $3,000-$4,000 a month from that one park. So economy of scale helps people want to do a better job, and you feel like you're important to their business. You have a better relationship. So, do want to say that there's multiple ways to do it, but yeah, you gotta know what you want to do, and you could fail and succeed in the end. Like it does go like oscillating capacity as you kind of climb up that wealth ladder.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, thank you for sharing your time with me today, Boris. It's been an absolutely amazing conversation. I've learned so much from your example. And I want to close by sharing 2 key takeaways that I've learned from you today. The first one is the importance of finding a mentor and looking to people that are further down the road than you and having the humility to ask them for help. That really opens a lot of doors and a lot of opportunities for yourself. The second key takeaway for me was the role of failure in finding success. And don't let early failures prevent you from continuing to try, because those failures will actually be the stepping stones that lead to the best decisions you make.
Yep. I'll tell you, sometimes being on social media for me is just LinkedIn that I'm occasionally on. You feel like a failure because you see everyone's closing deals, everyone's owning supposedly hundreds of millions of dollars. And honestly, I gain knowledge when I then see people telling about their losses. Like people who I thought like, well, they never lose. They share where they lost and how much they've lost. They're still successful in my head, potentially even more because it's easy. It's easy to have a great marriage when everything is fantastic. You got money, you're healthy, everyone's happy. It's hard when stuff hits the fan and you have to deal with it. Same here. Failures are absolutely necessary. It's like, I don't know, is it not to say maybe Muhammad Ali or whoever said, or Tyson, you get knocked out 7 times, you got to get up 8. Sorry if I'm misquoting who said that, but that's kind of how it is. You're going to get knocked down along on the way. You just have to keep getting up and fighting for it. And honestly, over the long term, things add up. Your goodwill that you put in does add up. Absolutely. And mentor, priceless. That's what I said. That's currently my black hole. I don't have that role for me. I have not put enough effort to seek it. Not gonna lie, like the guy became my best friend. It was like such a major blow. And, I tried a few kind of relationships, didn't fully work out, or maybe I didn't put enough effort. So kind of openly saying, like, I am thinking of one of my 2026 goals, and it was in 2025 goals that I didn't achieve, is find a group, high performing women that you can be a part of who can push you further. I just haven't input as much effort into it. Kids got, the best of me, too much time, this and that. It's just like, I'm thinking only, I'm happy where I'm at, but what is the level of success I'm not achieving without it? But maybe I would be 3 times as good as I'm now if I had. And if not, what? You lose a little money, you lose a little time. There's really not a lot of negativity, almost at all, to trying. So 100% they can help.
Awesome. And for people who are looking for that mentor and maybe want to reach out to you for some guidance, is the best place to find you on LinkedIn? Is that where they should connect with you?
Yes, I do check in post lately and comment less, but like even today, like every day I would log in just to see what's happening, if anything. And from time to time, I'm very active there. And that's actually one of the reasons where I'm like, I've been just spending too much time. So I say like, I deleted the app. I'm like, gotta stop because it's no value add. But yes, if anyone's interested, I'm 100% sure that I'm the only Boris Harhaji on LinkedIn or in the world for most part. So yeah, just type in my name, it'll come up.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Thanks for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, you must have liked it. So hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.